Frankie, your insights on kind of how things are right now. What do you think from your perspective?
Sure. And really what I want to focus on is the insights for the hiring manager. What can you do in this economy, this job market that's the craziest that it's ever been in the 25 years I've been in recruiting. We've had our booms in recruiting, and I thought it could never get better than this. And then sometimes it got so good that I'm like, this is not that great because the candidates have all the power. And I've never seen so much power with the candidate right now because there's so many jobs, and quite honestly, in accounting and finance at least, very few candidates out there, or they're very hard to find. So, what do you do to find the talent? Well, first of all, when I talk to my clients, I say, really start with the end in mind. You've got to clearly define the responsibilities of a position. You got to break it down. I mean, I read job descriptions from the largest companies in the world. I was just on a call a half hour prior to this panel discussion with one of the largest companies in the country, and I'm going through their job description, and there's nothing to it. There's a bunch of words, but it doesn't paint a picture. It doesn't let the candidate know what they're going to do. And even from a perspective of the qualifications, there's a lot of fluff in there. So we say, clearly define those responsibilities. Ideally, what we like to see is break it down as a percentage of time. That candidate wants to know, what am I going to do? And even more specifically, how much time am I going to spend in each area? Because maybe there's something in that job description that they're really excited about, and they want to know, is that going to be 25% of my time, or is that 3% of my time? So for example, for a senior accountant, I'd love to see, all right, 25% of their time, they're going to do month-end and year-end closings, and maybe even a few specifics of what that entails. 20% of the time, they're going to evaluate transactions for more complex accounts, such as like inventory, sales, cost of goods sold. Tell them exactly what they can expect in this position. 15% of the time, you're going to supervise staff. You start breaking out, it paints a good picture of what that position might look like. And then be specific with the qualifications of who you want to hire. There's so much fluff. I mean, I have a job description in front of me right now, and I see this all the time. Somebody who's got strong analytical and critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, self-motivated, detail-oriented, highly organized. Well, of course, that's a given. But what do you really want? Let's try and really pinpoint who you're looking for. And then you have to determine, so now you know what you want and you know what they're going to do. And then you got to determine what resources are you going to use for the recruiting process. And this is what people need to understand. Hiring managers need to understand that the best candidate is usually the person with their head down at their desk, their place of employment, outperforming those around them. And if they're outperforming those around them, they're not responding to ads and they're not searching the internet for a new job. They're happy, they're doing well, and they're being rewarded. Just like Kim said, there's a retention plan in place. You have to go and try and you need to convince them that you have something better to offer. So how can you attract them? Well, quite honestly, use a firm, use a recruiting firm, because what we do, we come in every day of every week for 10 hours a day. All we do is build our database, understanding the talent that's in that marketplace. When a client goes out there, they run an ad, and they're going to get a snapshot at that very point in time of who's looking on the internet, who's doing something other than working, quite honestly. So, right? Who's doing something behind their employer's back. So you get a snapshot versus my 25 years and my database of 125,000 accounting professionals. So personally, maybe I'm biased, but I think that's your best way to find talent. You can have an employee referral program. Now you basically recruit your own employees to become recruiters. Get them to go out there and talk to people who might have their head down at their place of employment, doing a great job. And then you could use outreach through social media, because people do go out to the social media, whether it be a LinkedIn or even a Facebook, post a job out there, and you may find some talent. But I certainly think a recruiting firm or even an employee referral program are usually the two best sources. Then the next thing is, when you finally get a candidate you're going to interview, prepare for the interview with that specific candidate. These candidates are being courted by so many different companies. Really understand his or her resume. Do some additional research. Yes, you have to work. You need to convince that candidate that they should work for you, almost more so than they need to convince you that they're the right candidate. That's the kind of market we're in today. I just met a candidate the other day, and I saw that she went to Arcadia University. I didn't know much about it, so I did some research. It's a very small college. They have castles on their campus, and I started with that. And she was so impressed that I actually took the time to learn a little bit about her before we actually met. that really makes the candidate have a feeling of they're important to you. You know, they're just not another resume, another piece of paper. Be prepared to sell the company. Interviews are two-way streets, like I said, especially in the current market. So what is special about the company? Why do employees like working there? Where is the company going in the future? What's the career path? Just like Kim said, where can you go in this company? And how will this person be developed professionally? How will they be mentored? It's not like the old days where a candidate comes in for a first interview, they have to sell you on why they're a good candidate. And then you invite them back and say, okay, in the second interview, we'll do some selling. We don't have that time in this market. It's a two-way street right off the bat.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with that personalization and that personalized touch, right? So
absolutely.
thank you.